another Ants on a Rock video. Welcome to the Ant Corner.
Hey there everyone, thanks for coming back for another video and a happy new year to you also. I do apologise for the lack of videos lately. As you can see, we have moved and it's been very hectic moving in and then Christmas as well. But we are all done now and raring to go. Of course, I've been super busy as well, getting ready for a year of awesome ant shows. Our first show in Sheffield in February is going to be absolutely spectacular. I hope you are going to come and join me there. Details are obviously on my website in the links in the description below. I'm also going to post a link to our biggest raffle ever. Over £500 of prizes have been donated, multiple winners. You can win more than once, so grab your ticket via that link. It will be drawn at the exhibition almost first thing in the morning. But anyways, that's not what you came here for. Let's do a little bit of talking about the ants. Let's start behind me with the leaf cutters. I will ask you just to ignore the really bad wallpaper at the moment. I haven't had a chance to decorate in the new ant room yet. But as you can see, the leaf cutters are doing really well. I've taken the fungus ball out of the pot that was creating the microclimate. I haven't noticed it decline at all, so it seems to be okay. You can see the temperature is holding 25.1, just gone up from 25, with a 99 and 98% humidity all the time. This is pretty much what you need for good fungus growth. They've currently got some privet and some ivy in there. Should we zoom in and have a look? As you can see, the fungus chamber is absolutely packed with ants. Loads of them around the fungus, collecting and processing the leaves like they should be doing. Absolutely beautiful. There's one carrying some food there. And they have still got this like big pile of leaf and whatever. I'm guessing they're using that to, like I say, create that microclimate still and keep the humidity as they need it. There you go, back in there, little larva. Back in you go. But the fungus looks nice and healthy. There's another one. Looks nice and healthy. The colony seems to be growing. The fungus is definitely growing. So it outgrew the pot that I was keeping it in. And then over here we go through the tube. No, well, one lone ant, but not carrying anything at the minute. And we've got the leaves, so let's zoom out a little bit. They've been cutting a bit. They've pretty much stripped all the ivy off that one branch, apart from that kind of rubbish looking leaf, which I don't blame them. And then they've started on the privet. Now they were going nuts for privet, but it seems that like you got to mix it up every time to keep that sort of excitement going. But I think they're absolutely beautiful ants. I really love the polymorphism, the size difference between some of the workers. Obviously, depending on their job, they will hatch as a different size. Larger ants are used more for cutting and carrying things, and the smaller ants are used for fungus care, really. There is ants in the middle and ants of all sizes which all have different jobs, but that's the basis of it. So it is really important to maintain that super humid environment and that around the 25-degree mark. We did go up to 27 degrees at one point. And after about a day or so, I noticed it was too warm and the fungus was actually starting to decline a little bit. Not actually decline, it just wasn't growing. They were creating rubbish from the fungus and it wasn't growing. So I backed it back down a little bit, 25 degrees, and it seems to be doing absolutely beautiful now. Let's move on. Moving on to our massive multi-species tank. It's had an extension, so now we have a bridge, and if I kind of come back a bit more,
you can see we've connected a second tank via this bridge. I'll zoom in to that area in a second and show you. It's doing really well. They use both tanks all the time. As you can see, there's ants running about. Again, I'll show you some close-ups in a second. We've had beetles and isopods and everything climbing over the bridge. It's quite impressive, actually. And yeah, it's really cool. So let's get in and have a look. So let's look at the tank we know and love. The Polyrhachis dives, after their in-tank nuptial flight, built this massive, and that reflection's doing my head in, massive expansion of their nest. And it's well over a foot wide now. It's quite frankly massive. Takes up like most of the tank, probably closer to 2 feet now, because they're building up in this corner up here at the moment. I'm going to turn that light off in a sec. That's better, light's gone. So they've just built this section up in this corner, and it just goes on and on and on. This was what spurred me to really think about expanding the tank, because the amount of ants in there now. And obviously all the other inhabitants were a little bit at risk in such a confined space. So in this tank we have 3 species of millipedes, 2 species of isopods. Oh, there's some. We've got our vampire crabs, which live over here in the pond. I don't think any are on show at the moment, and the glass kind of needs a good clean. But we do have a good family of probably 5 to 8 vampire crabs in there at the moment. And then this is the cool bit. These vines connect to this bottom bit. And as you can see, there's a beetle actually starting to climb up one of them at the back. Let's get a zoom. Just starting to make the journey upwards whilst ants are coming down. And then anyway, so it comes up, out of the top of the tank. You might have seen I've been doing a few short videos and stuff on this lately. And it goes all the way down into the other tank. And as you can see, they're quite busy. They use it all the time. It's like super cool. Again, ignore the wallpaper. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then in here, we've got another 3 different species of isopods. We've got 2 more species of ants, including acorn ants, which live over here, which so far haven't seemed bothered by the Polyrhachis dives. They seem to be basically leaving each other alone. The reason they're on there now is because I fed a waxworm on there literally just this morning. And then we do have a colony of Solenopsis fuga, which lives somewhere around here. Very small colony, just a founding colony that we popped in to see what happens. They might help control the numbers of Polyrhachis dives as both colonies grow at the same time. I think the tank looks quite cool. It's sort of a dried up creek sort of look. That's what I went for. Obviously we've got the pond on the other side, so it's sort of a continuation of that landscape, filled with lots of rotting wood and things like that, which obviously are great for the different inverts. Got lots of plants and seeds and stuff popping up. I sprinkled a load of our seed mix over, and we're going to get all sorts of different stuff popping up throughout the year, as well as our usual ferns and mosses and one of our Chinese money plants there. I do like the Chinese money plants to the point I've put them on the website now so you can start buying them. They're one of my favourite plants, and they're easy to keep once you get it right, you know what I mean. This tank always looks absolutely manic. They just run around like nutters all the time. But I suppose it's because there's just more space. You can kind of see it a bit better. I tend to do the feed-ins in this tank now, mainly because I like watching them running over the bridge. But it's quite a good idea to separate the feed-in from the area I want them to, like, leave the millipedes alone and stuff in. So cool. To start with, like, it wasn't really very fast. It was like a little trickle. Took about a day, and now it's just constant, you know, once they worked that out and set those pheromone trails down. Now it's constant, one going one way and one going the other. Let's move on to the big bulk shelves. We won't go into details on every colony, but let's talk about the shelves.
Well, I said a big load of shelves. There's actually so many I can't fit them all in a shot. There's a few below, and we've got some tanks above, including the bullet ant tank up in the corner and some other ones. So let's have a little talk about what's going on. Our Tet Bs, Tetramonium, I got this right the other night, Bicarnatium. Is that right? Let me know in the comments if that is right. Probably not. They are now in the T-shaped formicarium you see there right in the kind of center left, with the red screen. They are digging their own tunnels. We'll go and have a little look at that in a second. We've got Nikos sort of just at the bottom, sort of out of screen. They're doing really well at the moment. As you can expect from Nikos, they just kind of explode all the time. A lot of our colonies are actually in hibernation at the minute. That's why there's a bit of space on some of the shelves. But we do have some other interesting ones here. Again, I'm not going to go into massive details on all of them. We just haven't got the time. So looking at our Tet Bs, you can't actually see that much on the surface. You can see where they've started digging when it focuses incorrectly. Yeah, you can see they've started digging, and actually they have dug all the way down the bottom and started to create chambers and whatnot. But I have a feeling they are just digging on the other side and still keeping this covered with sand, because you can kind of see the tunnels go all the way down, but they're broken up on this side. So I expect we just can't see them. Now they are connected via this tube. Ignore the plugs, via the tube to this large outworld, and we have been feeding them regularly and whatnot, and they've been expanding really fast, as you know, with Tet Bs. So thank you for that, Anti-Matters, you absolute legend. Moving over to our Nico colony, there's not actually much activity in there at the moment. This is the outworld area. I need to top up their water, but they do get water in other sources as well, so it's not too much of an issue with this colony. Yeah, so they ate really well last night. They had a waxworm and a half, and there's not much left of it on that tin foil. And they also had some cotton wool with some ants on a rock, sugar candy stuff, ant candies. And there's none in the outworld at the moment, so let's have a little look if we can spot any in the little jungle we've got going on for them. Probably not. They tend to stay really well hidden, same as the isopods that live in here. And we did have trouble with the isopods coming down this tube, not being able to get back up, but now we've sloped it a bit better for them. They're managing to get back up occasionally, well, all the time, but they don't come down very much anymore. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to see any Nikos in this video. I am sorry for that. Our bullet ant enclosure is going to be the last one of our tour today. Now, it's not very well lit, so bear with it. But they are still knocking about, doing really well. I've actually just fed them this morning another 6 waxworms, and as you can see, there's no remains of them, so they've taken them all into their nest to be devoured by
their brood. Let's have a little look at these beauties, if we can get a good camber. They are absolutely stunning ants. I will be bringing these and my leaf cutters with me to Sheffield as some of the exhibits. I'll be cleaning up the glass for that, don't worry. So you do have the chance to come and see these in person. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a great event, so if you do have the chance to pop along, I do advise it. They say tickets are in the link in the description below. And give me a little comment if you're coming. And come say hi and whatnot.
But that's it for today. Thanks for coming in for another video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And leave me a little comment as well. I always like to reply to them. But as always from me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Goodbye.